Ray's asked if you could come up and make a couple of comments from his views in terms of what he's seeing in reference to the Queensland Police.
Thanks very much. Look, I thought I'd just quickly give you a post-COVID snapshot around what we're seeing on the Queensland road network, and I probably don't. Well, certainly we're seeing different things on the Queensland road network than Jim Hamilton from AFAC has seen in New South Wales. Our road use is up across the network, all vehicle types. To balance that, I suppose, is that we are, as most of you would realise, Queensland is Australia's most decentralised state, but we are certainly finding that our road use is up. There is definitely more internal travel. We saw a decrease post-COVID, obviously when there were lockdowns, that sort of thing, but our internal travel has gone up. We're seeing less use of public transport, particularly in the Brisbane metropolitan area, so that the issues around congestion, that type of thing, have re-emerged, and if anything have re-emerged somewhat more significantly than they were prior to COVID. The situation on our road network is, of course, is that we don't see in the short term that going away. The reasoning for that is that opening of those national borders seems to become further and further away, and as such, we anticipate that people will continue. People need a break, and they'll continue to holiday and travel within certainly our state, as we are a tourism destination. And because of that, everyone's favourites, and I apologise in advance to any grey nomads here, but certainly during winter we experience a lot of caravan travel, etc. And having and knowing not only through one of my sons, but some other close friends in your industry as it relates to fuel, I know that people not understanding your industry, and particularly the vehicles and how they operate, causes some distress for your drivers. And on the point of your drivers, I say this, and I won't concentrate necessarily just on the bulk tanker industry, but the trucking industry as a whole. I've been a police officer now for well in excess of 35 years, and I can tell you the two industries that I've seen in that time that have cleaned up their act the most are the Queensland Police and the trucking industry. There is no doubt that when I was a junior constable on the road, and there was some very, very poor practices in your industry, and I would be failing in acknowledging there are also possibly some poor practices in ours. So that's a point. The main thing as far as compliance that our officers see are still drug use, not so much alcohol, but drug use, amphetamine, methamphetamine as well, and defects, and particularly speed limiters and bypassing speed limiters and that type of thing. I'm aware that the NHVR and Transport and Main Roads in Queensland will be possibly joining up quite soon, in the scheme of quite soon being the pace that governments move, and bureaucracies move, but quite soon. And we look forward. We do joint operations now with the NHVR and TMR, and we will certainly continue that into the future. We have great relationships in that compliance area, and essentially, what I want to say is the majority of people do the right thing. It is really only a small percentage that do the wrong thing, but the problem that you people have, when things go bad for you, they go really, really, really bad. And if I could just iterate one point that Jim Hamilton made, and that's around planning and preparedness. It's quite easy to tick a box to say, okay, I've got that, I'm required by the NHVR or whoever to have a particular plan in place. Box ticked, good, I'm fine, we're compliant. The trouble is people move, phone numbers change, a whole range of things, regulation changes, and the time you go, normally when you have to grab that document or get onto your laptop and pull that document up, normally you don't have a lot of time to change things, search around for different numbers, search around for different types of things, because it's in crisis. And when it's crisis as far as your industry is concerned, I don't need to tell you, it is significant crisis. So if I could just reiterate that point that Jim made, that it is really, really important that we do that, because it's our officers that are normally quite often first on the scene. The fireys know all about that sort of stuff. Our people quite simply don't have the breadth of knowledge that the fire services do, and it's those people that quite often will be calling and trying to find out what they need to do. And often within the Queensland perspective, the fire response may be volunteer fire people, not, and in some other states as well, there won't be professional firefighters, so the people that do volunteers do a great job, but there's some things to keep in mind around your planning and preparation. And the last thing I just want to quickly touch is on what Gavin said, and that's around probably the strategic policy area and the need for data and statistics. Nothing ever got changed by not telling people how you need your business to operate and how things can be done better. So for that, I can assure you, and why I wanted to comment on what Gavin says, when these studies are done, particularly in this day and age, is the police don't have access to it. We identify data, we get the final report, but we don't know if ABC trucking companies breached here or done this or done that. There is very strong rules around that not occurring. So if you're in the position where you're asked to provide data, I can assure you, with my hand on my heart, that you won't have our compliance people delving in and pulling up something from 2 or 3 years ago and then coming along and knocking at your door. That will not occur. It's really, really important that people be involved in these type of studies, because they quite simply make a good platform for strategic policy, which in the long term affects road safety. And at the end of the day, my job is to try and keep people safe, and that will certainly help me do that. So thank you very much.